There we go. So this being Mega Man 11, these runners both being at the top of their game, we're going Impact first. Impact's weapon, way too good to not get first. You basically get like air dashes, fast movement, taking out enemies. It's great. You'll see. Sagehero needing to work out a couple of nerves there, sliding directly into one of those barriers. Chelney a little ahead to start things off. Successfully making the drop. Sagehero as well. That's good. It's an early trap there to just wiggle around all of those obstacles and make sure you get through here. Impact first over a lot of the other routes. Well, the only other route I know of being Tundra first. You have to just be careful. All you have is Buster, and you have to make a lot of precise rush coil jumps, make a lot of precise charge shots if you want to be able to do really anything at speed. And you are seeing a lot of just blazing a trail through this stage. Chelney missing rush there, not comfortable with his path up, so losing a little bit of time to Sagehero on that vertical screen. I believe I'm hearing the orchestrated soundtrack there from the pre-orders if you don't know why this music isn't what you might be listening to yourself. It's a great soundtrack. I highly recommend listening to it if you get the chance. So Chelney coming up on the Pickman Digger. Both runners going to try and get the final charge shot here. Sagehero taking a hit, so he's not going to quite... Oh, he's going to get it anyway. Chelney not taking damage on the way in, gets through a little bit faster than Sage. And he is into this giant elevator screen of doom. They have to take a damage boost, jump through spikes, shoot that giant... Whoa! Shoot that... Oh my... Sagehero not able to get those iframes through the spikes. It is a really tight jump. No shame, but he does have to do that room again now. Chelney gave us all a heart attack there, missing the jump up at the top of the screen. Sagehero again unable to get through that one spot. So we'll see what he goes for this time. There is a second path through that room, but it's not very fast, actually, without other weapons. Chelney is going to have quite the lead getting into his Impact Man fight here, having gotten through the last vertical screen also well. Sagehero on his third try, it is the charm, gets through, not able to get the rush coil jump up there right away. Oh my goodness. So let's talk about Chelney and Impact Man. And we've got Sage's audio. We'll switch that in just a moment. Chelney looking here to do just enough damage to Impact Man so that you can trick him into doing this sort of Y-shaped pattern. And honestly, we don't even get to see that. This quick kill has evolved that. You don't even get to see that. The whole point of this is that you are avoiding the power gear phase for Impact Man. If you see the power gear phase, he doesn't take any damage. It wastes a lot of time. It's not fun. You don't want to see it. It's a giant time loss. You do have to even do it twice. So, you know, this execution on really all these boss fights, it's actually huge in this game to be able to do it. There's the Y formation pattern I was talking about. You got to see it a little bit on Sage's side as Chelney is already in Tundra Man. Early routes put this stage first, and you already see Chelney getting out Impact here. It just saves time. It's too good. Chat saying a little bit of it was a role reversal. Like I said, that first race was the race where Chelney probably doesn't want to remember that time. Sage really in an upset there by most accounts. Sage has been working his craft, though, so Chelney now trying to, like I said, take his revenge. There are some wind sections here. Chelney's on one of those screens now, so you know the name of the game. Get on the ground, slide as much as you can with the wind. And just another stage with a lot of rush coil. You're going to see a lot more impact here as well. As these hopping bunnies, well, they don't take that much to kill. You know, impact is that much better. I don't think I did commentate that race, Volt. Maybe I did, though. It was a while ago. That's the Frost Mammoth. It has a name. It dies fast. This game has a mechanic that I've only really otherwise seen in Mega Man X8, where the full charge shot from Mega Man's Buster will kind of undo enemy shields, and you can use that to kind of get through and destroy that mini-boss. You saw Chelney there. One of the reasons you get impact early is to get that W-tank. Rush coiling up and using impact through that screen. Just so much fun. Gets you W-tanks, and we're going to see a lot of W-tanks as we go through this game because, well, you see all that impact everybody's using. It's that valuable. So Chelney here on what is kind of low-key one of the worst screens in the game. There's a lot of things in this game where it's not so much that it's bad as one mistake is very punishing. So Chelney is actually now, I believe, behind Sage by a little bit. Just from that one death, because that is just an awful place to die. It's very easy to bonk on that screen. So when you see players going in speedruns, going through this stage and not having any trouble, you know, that is not entirely trivial. Especially with input delay on this game, because you have an HD game, depending on what you're going for. Obviously, by this point in a tournament, you probably know what your setup is, but it's just another thing you have to be aware of. Sagehero getting through. So let's switch that audio over. Let's see what Tundra Man has to say. Chelney, to his credit, is coming right back here. He's not losing a Tundra Man, kind of a similar situation where you want to use the Charge Buster with the Power Gear and the precise pattern. Tundra Man's Speed Gear phase, not nearly as costly to your time as the Power Gear phase for Impact or Blockman. But, you know, you still don't want to see it. It's still a few seconds. I guess we should talk about that. I think if you've watched Mega Man 11 by now, you know about the gears. We're mostly seeing the Power Gear because it kind of gives you a de facto charge shot for the special weapons if you're an X-Series fan. With the Buster, though, you get that kind of combo double shot. The first shot does 3, the second shot does 5, and it penetrates iframes, so it is useful. Sage starting Torchman stage here. You're going to see a lot of impact in the stage to get across these kind of gaps in the campsite. And remember, only you can prevent forest fires. That firewall chasing the players in this stage is instant kill. Yeah, you don't want to get caught by it, Sage. Come on. Though, if you do get in trouble, Tundra can stop it. And yes, the question out there in chat, which is already answered, but whatever. Next round will be best of 3. This one is still best of 1. So both players through the first firewall screen. Sage getting up here to this burning chicken in front of the campsite full of Mets. You'll see the campsite when Chelney gets there. But 3 Tundras as fast as you can to take it out. Normally, Tundra takes a little more to cool down, but if you slide, it cancels that cooldown for some reason. Sage having a little bit of trouble early in this section, using Tundra to stop the firewall so he can grab that W-tank. Again, W-tanks, just so you can use weapons more. In fact, this stage is one of those stages. Using Tundra there was, despite the fact it's Torch's weakness, not costly at all, because you're just going to use that W-tank and get all your impact back to go through these screens faster. So Chelney still a couple of screens behind Sagehero, doing one of the more risky looking impacts there. That one's actually not that bad, because this game does have in-game turbo that is allowed, so you can hold that down to your advantage in a few spots. Get through that maze, Sage. Come on. Oh my goodness. So yeah, again, this stage, if you make one mistake and you get caught in a bad situation, bad things will happen. So Torchman is a neat little boss who has lots of kind of Hadoken-like attacks that block Buster shots. Unfortunately, he's weak against the weapon that hits the entire screen. And if you're worried about ammo, I believe 2 powered Tundras and 2 unpowered Tundras will take him out. I think you need 5 unpowered overall. Either way, Torchman's down. That's all you need to know. Torchman's down, so we can go to Blastman. Shoutouts to Axel. So, the theme in Blastman stage is a lot of explosive boxes. If anything fire hits these boxes, they explode. There's also exploding, like, small cat robots. I don't know what they were thinking there, but we have them. And you can see, this is where the fast weapon switching of this game starts to really shine. The right stick on your controller for any of the consoles this thing's on works as a weapon swapping device. So you're going to see a lot of switching between Impact and Torch. Maybe a little Tundra if things get hairy as we go along here. Twin Thriller here. A lot of people, when they get here and they are first playing the game, spend a lot of time figuring out how to damage that mini-boss. It turns out the solution was to use Tundra a couple of times. Oddly, you need 3 powered Tundras, but 1 powered and 1 unpowered to take it out. So we're going to start seeing a little more Tundra here on this screen. And you're seeing the runners also switch back to Impact, seemingly for no reason if you're really paying attention. But also, if you're paying attention, you know already, they are hunting for drops for Impact. If an enemy drops a weapon refill, they want Impact equipped just to kind of work it in wherever they can. The runners in this game know where they can use it. If you use it in a bad spot, bad things will happen. Sagehero, they're going through that last long vertical screen with ease. While I was talking about that, you'll see Chelney go through in a second. You have to actually blow up boxes over your head and then rush coil your way up. You need to get those boxes out of the way to coil up. That said, Sage is going to open the blast fight here with a power Tundra for extra damage. Torch makes this fight easy. Buster and Tundra make this fight fast. Excellent fight from Sage. Let's see if Chelney can match it and keep pace. Unfortunate that Chelney took some damage there. Taking damage with power gear will make you lose your charge. Normally in this game, taking damage does not, if you don't have a power gear active, you don't lose the charge. Chelney was actually in a little trouble there. He got like maybe 6 hit points left. Fasta with the fast at no in chat, I was thinking the same thing. But you got to see that Torch, again, makes that fight easy, if not fast. Sage in Blockman, if you played the demo for this game, you recognize this stage, but, you know, we get all the other weapons now. You also saw the menu through something there. After 4 Robot Masters in this game, you get Rush Jet. Like a lot of other Mega Man games like this, we save the stages where Rush Jet is immensely useful for later. So Blockman stage has a lot of falling blocks that if you don't know where they're coming in, it's easy to kind of get stopped by them. This is the mid-boss tower thing. It dies in 2 Tundras and 1 power blast. Weird thing about this stage, actually, there are no weapon drops kind of in the wild in this stage. Any weapon drops you get are going to be from an enemy. So it's important to manage your weapon energy properly in this stage for that alone, because you're using a lot of blast, like taking out those giant mazes. And of course, blast is the weakness of Blockman, so you gotta have some. Second sort of open falling block screen for Sage. There's the W tank. Just dancing between these falling blocks. Second verse, same as the first for that mid-boss. There's a conveyor on the ground, but if you do it right, it doesn't even matter. So there should be kind of 1 more block maze room for Sage, and then another vertical room, and then another falling block room, and, well, you know, there's like 4 screens left in this stage. Key is don't impact into something dumb, and keep your Rush Jet jumps going. Makes these vertical rooms that are really a huge pain without Rush trivial. So I did mention earlier that it's Impact and Block that have power gear phases that are really long and slow. If you play the demo, you're probably familiar with the Blockman power gear golem that just wastes time. It's not even that hard to take out once you know how it works, but it is more damage you have to do. So the key here is to get enough damage in, and then have Blockman run into that explosion, and then have a final charge ready. There's a few setups that produce this result where Blockman never gets a chance to really use his power gear, and we enjoy saving time. Chelney going to go for the same setup here. If you see Rush beaming in there, a lot of players use Rush to switch to Buster. Since the runners generally removed one of their weapon select buttons to put Turbo on the controller someplace, they can't use L and R to switch back to Buster. You have to right-click to do it. Interesting that Sage bought an M tank. I guess he's loaded up on E tanks and W tanks. Didn't see if he bought a beat item or not. Either way, Sage basically spent a lot of his lead on safeties. Maybe that's a good decision in a race. We will find out. Bounce Man stage is a whole lot of fun on springs. I'm sure everybody loves this stage when they're first going through the game. Our runners here are going to basically show you how fast this stage really can go. You're going to see a lot of impact, a lot of rush jet, a fair amount of torch. Torch is just a really good weapon. By the way, if you have the Chelney Frog emote, now is the time to start typing it. You know it's coming. And our runners are actually tied up, really. Sage maybe not even frames ahead. So there we go. Well, we have a race. Pump Master K goes down to basically spam power gear items. Now this checkpoint room is a little infamous for having a lot of these like blocking enemies and just bad things, and I didn't even get to finish talking. They're done with the room. You might see the runners here doing these rush jet jumps, just kind of summoning rush jet, jumping on it rather than using coil. Rush jet, if you do that, uses 2 bars of rush ammo, and rush jet and rush coil in this game share the same weapon meter. Coil uses 4, so if you can get away with that jet jump, you're saving energy. Chelney with a slight lead now, going into Chelney Frog number 2. The springs make this fight a little trickier, mostly in terms of being able to actually land all your hits. Chelney with a very slight lead here. Don't want to go crazy on the audio switching. We'll see who's ahead at the end of the stage. This is a long back and forth screen that both players just got through, or you just use jet like that. Sage and Chelney here going to kind of trick this spring. They just kind of get high enough for the game to kind of trigger on the big bounce. And they get up there. So the problem is that our runners don't have enough impact to only use impact on the boss fight, but as we know, the Power Buster combo is going to do 8 points of damage if they can land it. So here we go. Good job from Chelney. Looks like he's got it. Very nice. Takes 3 impacts or 2 impacts and the power combo to take out Bounce Man. Playtime is over. So we will switch to Chelney's audio since he managed to beat Sage out of the stage by a few seconds. Bounce Man's weapon is a nice 3-way spreader shot. Rubber is insulating, so makes sense that it's going to work against the electric Fuse Man. Fuse Man, the first half of Fuse Man stage has a lot going on. Impact goes through these lasers that trail everywhere in the stage. And you just get to see a lot of weapons. We have a route divergence. What is this? Sage is an Acid Man. Alright, so Acid Man stage, you have the weakness weapons for both of these robots at this point in the run. So it's not bad or anything like that that they are in different stages. They're not going to miss much. Although you will see Chelney use a lot of bounce in Acid Man stage. Acid Man stage is a lot of impact. Fuse Man stage is a lot of use all the right weapons at the right time so you can do things like impact through these laser beams. I don't know if it's a new strat or if it's a bad stage select, but Sagehero should be fine. You don't really use that much Fuse in Acid Man stage, and you don't really use that much Acid in any stage, so he should be fine. So Chelney making short work of the mid-boss here. We're going to follow Chelney through to the last two stages just to make commentary make some sense, although we'll keep an eye on Sage. Chelney again here, using strategic coils, using weapons. A lot of the early strats for this game use Tundra in a lot of spaces because it's a full screen attack. But when you use Tundra, Mega Man stays still for about like a full second. So anytime you can get away without using Tundra, you're saving time. Sagehero actually in a very dangerous part of this level, as Chelney's approaching Fuse Man, which is going to be a very fast fight. If you're not familiar with this quick kill, definitely watch it. And prepare to cringe at those puns. Oh my god. Fuse is another sort of... Use the power gear. Turn it off as Mega Man's firing so it cools down enough that you can keep using the power gear shots. And Fuse Man goes down. Sage is going to fight Acid Man here. What weakness is block. I guess that has a basic property to it. Strategy is to knock out that shield with a block and start using power combos to run down his life meter and then just crush him with power block. Sage executing that fight very well. Now the runners will switch stages. Acid Man stage is a little longer, so Sage isn't really losing time. At least it feels like it's a little longer. I've never actually sat down and timed them, and I don't have my splits open to find out. So the theme of Acid Man stage is the water stage. And here's Chelney spamming the bounce balls just because that spread shot, just getting extra shots into all sorts of places to basically make sure you don't miss on these little scrubbing enemies that go up and down really fast. Acid Man stage, unfortunately, the stage that's also littered with spikes. I threw them all here. And again, you're seeing blocks falling down on shield enemies' heads. Torch just taking weird angles to clobber all of the enemies. Chelney's going to do what Sage did here, fall right next to those spikes. It looks horrifying, but Mega Man gets a little extra bounce there. And that helps you get over those spikes easy. You can use Impact or another weapon like that to get a more surefire trip through those spikes. But this is the losers semifinals. You have top tier runners going against each other. They're going to use top tier strats. This last screen is a hot mess. You want to impact through as much of it as you can. Unfortunately, you don't really have a lot of impact left at this point in the stage. You see Chelney getting a little bit of impact back. Is he going to go for this? He's not going to go for the immediate impact there. Sage taking out the mid-boss in Fuse. Chelney impacting rather late on those spikes, scaring me. This is a vertical screen. You're actually jumping even higher on it. I don't know what happened there. Chelney didn't like the rush jet jump. Maybe he canceled rush too soon. Recovers very nicely. You don't want to land on the spikes. I believe you end up all the way back in the yellow water immediately after the mid-boss. A very costly death if you take it. So Chelney into Acid Man, proving maybe he did gain a little more time than we thought. Again, block to take out the shield, power buster combo to just run down this life meter. And good night, Acid Man. 8 robots in 24:15, give or take. Sage on Fuse here, opening up with the bounce ball, his weakness, just to get some damage in, and then into the power buster combo. I believe this, yeah, that is about where they were after bounce. Very nice. So Sage, roughly 20 seconds behind. I don't remember the exact time. Only thing to keep an eye on, Sagehero went shopping, has a lot of safeties in his back pocket. Chelney has not gone shopping, saved a whole lot of time because of it. And if you're paying attention to shop prices, remember there are discounts on E-Tanks on weekends and Wednesdays. Wily's Gear Fortress. I mean, you know the name of the game at this point. Lots of impact, lots of torch. This stage has giant pits everywhere. Kind of reminds me of World 5 and Mario 3. There's just a lot of pits. Nothing especially hard, but one mistake and you're going to fall in. And you are using impact over a lot of these. You could use jet as well, but impact is, well, faster. Chelney not quite making the last jump to that gear. Having to climb back up, so giving Sage a chance to pick up some time right there at the end. Very nice. One of the two Yoku block screens. Chelney's through it. There are lots of weapon drops in Wily 1 and Wily 2, so it's very easy to just spam these weapons. Chelney getting through nicely, landing on that post at the end to jump and get in that passageway. It's a free strat. Use it. Sagehero missing the menu to impact. Recovers nicely. Okay, he missed the last weapon drop, but he's just happy to be through that screen. I'm sure that one's a checkpoint with the spike drop. Chelney going through that last screen with all of his impact, using the speed gear and picking back up. That vertical screen is just a giant pain. Sage doesn't have enough impact here. He's going to use one of his W tanks to make sure he gets through this. Oh boy. Sage bounced off that wall. That's why he paused to try and do something about it, but he had already got the recoil. If you played Mega Man 1, you might recognize this block pattern. So the strat here for the bombs, that does a little more damage than a power bomb. Let's see if Chelney proves that this devil, like the rest, is easy. Got another set of 4. Easy! Sagehero to match. Yellow Devil is going into the speed gear pattern, so that works out. It looks good for Sage. Easy! Alright, into Wily 2. Chelney, I think, saved a little bit of time in Wily 1. Not that much, though. Wily 2, another stage that's full of death traps, really. This is one of the few stages in the game that I feel like will actually cause you to run out of hit points. Chelney impacting here. You have those fire boxes in the way, just like Blast Man stage. This is Sniper Joe sniping Chelney out of the air, living up to his name, doing his namesake proud. Mid-boss. Goodbye, mid-boss. Get some Tundra on this stage, just clearing things out. There's just a lot of rooms where it's easy to do that. Sage not able to get over the sort of shield cannon enemy there. See if Chelney gets this rush jet jump. Very nice. Just a lot going on here in Wily 2. The other thing about that stage where with the rush jet jump that Sagehero is about to go onto as well, Sage using his M tank. How much impact is he using? Very nice. That screen is just devastating with those Sniper Joes sometimes because it's before any checkpoint still. This last screen that Chelney's on with the second moving wall, it's not even the last screen. You know, I remember that screen being longer. I'm going to let Chelney explain that screen later because, wow, that was fast. This screen with the Stomper robots, actually not that bad. You can full jump off of Rush, and as long as you don't move Rush up, you'll be okay. You won't jump into those spikes. This last Crusher screen, I will say, since moving to Chelney, what are you doing? Since moving to a low delay input monitor, I've not had as much trouble on that screen. I don't know where this checkpoint is. Sage is probably, yeah, one screen that Chelney was actually picking up enough time that he's not that far behind. Sage missing a rush jet jump, might want to use that speed gear immediately. I don't know if that rush jet was worth it, but he's through. Doesn't have a gear. He's got to wait for it to cool down now on this screen. So Chelney with a chance to come back. What is going on? Somebody tell me. They're both going into Mauverine. We're running on Sage's audio if you're keeping score at home, but they're effectively tied. Sage with maybe a 1 or 2 second lead. Mauverine, you want one shot of bounce, probably 2 bounce balls, honestly, to crack the shell and then go to work. I don't even know who's winning right now. This is amazing. This is great. They're staring each other down. They must know. So Sage, maybe 2 seconds ahead. Both players with an excellent Mauverine battle. So, that said, we are roughly done with platforming. There's a little bit of it left, but we're primarily fighting bosses at this point in the game. Do your fall swag to the Robot Masters for the rush, and here we go. Maximum impact. I wonder if either of them liked to spike. Unfortunately, we missed that earlier. So again, like I was talking about way back in the beginning of this race, you have to execute these quick kills twice. Chelney already done with Impact Man. Just like the first time through, Chelney's impact slightly faster. Switch over there. Although we're going to have a route divergence, we're listening to Chelney. Acid Fight is pretty free. The Bounce Refight, they're going to do the same thing. I know some of these refights, they're mostly the same as the original fight, Tundra being the major exception. If you're wondering, Impact is weak to Acid, and Acid is terrible. Although you do get to see it on Wily. Spoilers. And yes, Blockman will be the big factor. Blockman and Impact, although Impact's already done. Sage felt like he went a little slow on bounce. They have the same 3 robots down. And Chelney's going to go right over to block. So here we go. Sage is going to go to blast. Really, at this point, we're paying attention. Does Chelney get the quick kill? Has to switch to Tundra to get his setup. Oh, no! Sage, again, having a little trouble with blast. Didn't actually look like that much, though. This is the block golem. It has no iframes. A few blasts will take it out, but if you don't have the ammo, Torch is an excellent choice. Sage into Torchman. Block comes out of the golem state with potentially more hit points than he had, but he still only takes 1 shot at that point in the fight. Sage, no trouble with Torch. Chelney into Fuse. Sage into Tundra. Tundra is the one refight that really changes because you suddenly have a weakness weapon that's very good. You're going to see a lot of power fuse in this fight. Down and up immediately. And boom. Goodbye, Tundra. Yes, Tundra handled... Chelney handled the block golem very fast. But that is still a time loss. If you have the blast, it takes only 3 power blasts to take it out. Power Torch, though, still does tons of damage to the golem. Sage fighting Fuse here. Very nice. So I think Sage only has block left. So let's listen in. Chelney, I want to say, has another robot after Torch. Is he out of Tundra? He has to wait for an opening in this fight to get that buster shot in. And Sage taking care of business on Blockman. Chelney going in a blast, but Sage is done. So 34-13. Chelney needs to take care of business and get some help from the doctor. And Chelney getting to see this power gear setup takes care of Blastman immediately, but he's got some time to make up here. Sage needs to make this jump. You need the speed gear to get Rush over there high enough to get on this platform. This is an elevator section, so really all you're doing is going for cycle skips and swag. Sage gets the impact across the spike chasm. As far as I know, I'm the only person who's ever died in that jump. Sage doing a very good job getting here to the checkpoint. Chelney to try and match, but Sage is up to the Wily machine. Sage, I don't think has any tanks at all left. I don't know what Chelney has in his inventory. So, there's a whole lot of weapons that work on the Wily machines. Acid is by far one of the best ones. Blast is an excellent backup. Impact works well on the machine itself. Fuse is a good backup on the capsule. So, Chelney needs this capsule to go wrong for Sage. He's here. The thing you want to do with the capsule is use power gear and activate the acid shield right basically on top of Wily, and Sage gets him. Sage is done with an SRL time of 35.53, a 13-second race PB. So get the GGs out for Sage. Well done, Sage Hero. Chelney here going to close out the fight against Wily. Give us some everlasting peace while he's here. One of the tricks here that will throw off a lot of players is you got to make sure you turn off the power gear after you actually use it. Chelney just going in there YOLO. He could not get bodied by the capsule there. Did not care. Finishes him off with a blast shot. Chelney done with a 36-31. GG to Chelney. Well done by both runners. This was a heck of a race. This is a really good race.
How's it going?
Oh my goodness. Is that Sage?
This is Sage. I think my heart's about to explode out of my chest.
Please remember to take a deep breath and stay hydrated, and that will prevent your heart from exploding. Dude!
I played pretty bad there.
Dude, race PB.
Yeah.
Well done.
Actually, if I didn't have a horrible impact, this would have been a really big PB.
I mean, you got it out of the way early. You got your safeties in there. I think you used all of those tanks that you bought too, didn't you?
Yep, I used the backup tank. So I did not use beat, however.
No beats this time. Sage is one of the only runners I know who will buy beat in these races. Beat is will save you from falling in a pit, which just makes life a lot easier. It's a lot safer, especially when a lot of this game will throw pits of doom and destruction at you, and bad things can happen. So
yeah, it was actually it's specifically for that screen in Wily 1 that I messed up and fell down, but I managed not to die just by using all my impacts and then E-tanking or W-tanking.
Yep, just well done, sir. Wow, I don't even know where to start. I'm a terrible interviewer, by the way. So,
okay.
what do you think about this run? Like you said, you had you had to recover from that impact, man.
Yeah, this could, like, if this had a better start, if I was, because I can actually save like a few seconds off impact instead of losing 32. So like this would have been a pretty big PB. This would probably been like 25-second PB or something. This would have been a low 35 if I didn't mess up impact, which I did. Fortunately, they're quick, those big room fails are quick deaths, but I was very nervous knowing that if I went for again and didn't make it, it was game over and I'm pretty much out at that point.
Yeah, because you had to make it to at least Blockman to grab that one up, I would think.
There's one in Torch.
That would have.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember where it is in
Torch. It's right before the mini boss. You impact up to it.
Oh.
It's only on screen for like a split second. You barely even see it.
Yeah, that's why I don't know it's there. And you might have grabbed the one in Tundra as well.
I did not, actually. I considered it, but I was like, if I do something different on Tundra, I'm worried I'm going to just end up in a pit. So I just did what I normally do.
So we've got Volt out there in chat who's commentating some of these races, reminding me to ask you about this one. You do Acid 7?
Yeah, it's just preference. It actually comes from out of bounds routing.
Ah.
And I never changed it. The fuse, the acid out of bounds, in my opinion, was harder than the fuse. So I put the acid one first, so that one That way, if I messed it up, I just, you know, it's the first one.
And like I was also explaining to chat during all this too, at that point, there's no real routing differences since you have both weakness weapons and you don't really use the weapon in either stage. I was kind of hoping you would use acid somewhere in Fuse and have some like amazing backup strat we didn't know about.
I was thinking about out of bounds routing, so maybe we'll see. It's possible to do one of those stages like earlier if you're doing out of bounds strats. So we'll see.
So were you watching Chelney? I'm not sure if he's gonna come in and join us, but I don't know if you were following what.
I had Chelney up on my phone, but obviously I wasn't watching too closely. He was like on my charging dock. I saw at one point that he was ahead and then behind and then ahead and then behind. Like I saw running up to the ends. Something must have happened in boss rush, I'm guessing.
Chelney, I believe, had 2 deaths in this run. The last screen of Tundra.
Oh, okay.
And the Crusher climb at the end of Wily 2.
Oh, okay.
That said, he got the block Golem phase in refights because you got Maulverine down at about the same time.
Gotcha. I see.
So yeah, if you were looking back and forth, you might have been a little confused. So here you are, the 11 seed climbing into losers final. Waiting for Carter Freak or Reeves to play that winner's final match.
That Reeves, if I rematch Reeves, I'm gonna puke.
That's right. This was rematch number 1, and you're gonna go into rematch number 2.
No, the last one was a rematch 2 versus Anea. It's literally the same thing.
Wow. I mean. What do you feel about the tournament organizers basically like setting you up to have to prove yourself twice against everybody?
It's interesting. I mean, I wish I could have played a bigger variety of people, but obviously, like, you don't get to just like pick who you want. Like, it's who wins. So
yeah,
there's a lot of really good runners in this tournament, and like it's amazing some of the people that are not in the tournament anymore, like Mumu,
like Chelney,
like Anea, like yeah, I guess so. Like oh god, now Chelney's gonna get world record.
Probably.
Yep. I'm calling this.
Chelney has that level of grind. We love Chelney. So yeah, actually that would be amazing if you play Reeves in the losers final, because then you will have been in 3 matches, well, in 6 matches, and only had 3 opponents.
Yeah, so
in a double elimination bracket. How did that happen?
I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to wish that one person wins or loses. You know, I'm just going to play whoever comes to me. Is that a best of 3?
That is a best of. These will both be best of 3s, I believe.
Oh boy,
theirs is best of 3. Yours will be best of 3, and then I believe the grand final also best of 3 and also still double elimination. So whoever comes out of that will have to best of 3 twice.
Oh wow. Okay.
If they want to come out of losers bracket and win.
Yeah, so this was actually a lot of fun. This is not the result I expected, but I've said that a few times so far this tournament, so maybe I should start believing. I don't know.
Yeah, well, best of luck to you in that losers final. I don't think the winners final is scheduled yet. I don't think it was there the last time I checked the match scheduling page. So keep your eyes and ears open on the schedules on Speed Gaming to see when that match gets scheduled. We will let everyone know as soon as we can through some mechanism. Congratulations again, Sage, on the win. This was an amazing race, and thank you so much for having the race.
Yeah, thanks a ton. I'd like to thank a lot of people real quick. Mumu for making the video guide, which I used to learn a lot of this game. Actually, Chelney for showing me how to do some of the strats. Came back to bite him, I guess. But And also everyone who's at megamanleaderboards.net, if you guys want to join us, stop on by. We have a Discord. You can see leaderboards. You can watch the runs. And also Peony for finding W-Tank strats.
So many W-Tanks.
Yeah, just the massive shop trip. I love it.
Yeah, it was amazing because you were out of that stage. I think it was block at the time. And you basically spent your entire lead shopping, and Chelney did not go shopping. So that was a thing.
Yeah, it's technically faster to not shop, but it's more consistent to shop. So like, I think the difference between like your best time and worst time is going to be bigger if you don't shop. Whereas if you do, you're going to have a narrower difference between like your usual split and your gold split. Every now and again, you'll get a run that's so good. Like I had an acid. My gold split in acid actually doesn't even use a W tank because everything gave me drop.
All right. Well, I think we're wrapping up here.
All right. Thanks.
I just want to thank all the folks at Speed Gaming again for hosting this tournament and running all. Thanks. Yeah. Speed Gaming and all of the folks there at Tech running this show behind the scenes so everybody gets to watch these amazing races. Give Speed Gaming a follow. Give our runners a follow. I always wait too long to say that, but there, I typed it in chat. Follow sagehero. Follow Chelney. I'm guessing we're going to end up over on Speed Gaming 4 right now. There is the Zelda 1 weekly randomizer race going on there. Thank you, Volt, with the plug for me. You can follow me if you want. It's okay. I run slower than these two. But, yeah. I think that's all I've got. You got anything, Sage?
No. Good game to Chelney, and thanks to everyone who's running Mega Man.
Yeah.
Oh,
GG, Chelney. I think Chelney, if you want to see more Mega Man 11, it looks like Chelney is going to go back to the grind. So feel free to get over there. And have a good night, everybody.
Thanks to my wife who put the kids to bed early so I could do this.
Same. Good night, everybody.
Take care.